Hi, Ina. Good to have you here.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. Ina will tell us how to build a successful team here in Bulgaria, a successful IT team. So, can you tell me, is it easy to build a team in Bulgaria?
Thank you for having me. It's actually a pleasure for me. Well, to be honest, when I look back, yes, we had our fair amount of challenges, but I wouldn't say that it was too hard to build a team here. However, it's good. Like, I need to say that we've been extremely lucky with the people who had put their faith in us. So yeah, in the very beginning of the establishment of the company here, so I will always be grateful for that. And after they joined us, it was a little bit of a snowball effect. Due to not only due to recommendations, but also due to the general traction we were getting. On the other hand, of course, as a startup, there were some periods of time in which money were quite scarce. Yeah, after the first investment round, I think that the wheel started turning quite steadily, both in terms of people and in terms of financial resources.
So, big tech companies like Google, for example, keep saying they only hire people they believe are innovative or they believe in innovation. What type of people does Documaster have?
We're a little bit more down to earth here. Actually, there are three very simple guiding principles for our team, and we always share them with each candidate. To thrive
I'm
to thrive in Documaster, you need to be enthusiastic and motivated by what you do. Help out your colleagues as they will be willing to help you, and respect your colleagues. That's it, as simple as that.
Okay, and why is this so important?
Enthusiasm, being motivated by what you do, the willingness to learn and try out new stuff. This is essential in the always changing context of our company. We are still a startup. So the challenges we face are very, very different from the ones in a large corporation. And it is up to us as professionals to find the solutions. In Documaster, we're the ones who are responsible for the future of our products, and we are not afraid to constantly try to change or improve things that are not working that well. And the other thing is that no one is actually taking the decisions for us. So having this right attitude and motivation, enthusiasm, this is essential to feel comfortable with in Documaster, because things are really, really dynamic still. In terms of why helping out is so important, of course, we're counting on each other to excel. Here, no one is too junior or too senior. We believe that we can always learn something from each other, being professionally or personally. What I love about Documaster, and it's one of so many things, but is how people respond immediately to requests for help or questions or discussions. People just drop whatever they're doing and they just turn around and start discussing with whoever needs their help. And this is something really, really valuable for us. And lastly, respect towards people and their experience and expertise. This is of paramount importance to us. Something that we tell everyone is like, we do not tolerate arrogance, period. That's it. Feeling safe to make mistakes and being ready to drop something that is not working for us as a team is, after all, what drives us forward. So to create such comfort, we count again on respectful people willing to help each other, and definitely not on individuals focused solely on their own technical brilliance. It might seem like a cliche, like don't hire brilliant jerks, but it has worked for us like a charm, and we truly believe that.
So, in terms of dialogue and discussion, what is the difference in hiring process in Documaster?
I believe that throughout the year we built quite a robust interviewing process. First of all, what we strive to create is a comfortable atmosphere for the candidates. As an HR, that's probably something really strange to say, but I used to hate going to interviews, being on the receiving end, just because of the sheer amount of stress they generated in me. So I was like, okay, I have the opportunity to change that, and not put anyone through this. So we keep our interviews as informal as possible. And what we really care about is actually trying to give as much relevant to the candidate information as possible as well, because in order for them to take an informed decision, they need to ask questions, poke around to see what's what in the company, not only in terms if they're on an interview with us, but we tell them if they go to another interview, ask them about the not so pretty stuff. After all, finding the right place and the right job is what would lead to being motivated. So people need to be aware of what's going on in the company they're applying for. About our interviewing process, it's quite simple, and I believe it's quite short as well. As a first step, we have an informal talk on the phone, or whatever video platform we might use, especially now. It lasts for about 15 to 30 minutes, and we discuss just general info about the candidate, the company, and the position. Then, as a second step, we have an on-site talk, which is a little bit longer. It might last from 1 to 2 hours, depending on the details we dive in. And it consists of two parts. The first part is meeting with the CTO and one of the co-founders, actually, of the company, who is a Bulgarian, and the main reason to have an office here in Bulgaria. A meeting with the CTO and HR, where we discuss more non-technical topics, such as the candidate's expectations, company culture, working environment, and everything else that might be of interest. The second part is the technical discussion, and then during that part, we involve one or two people from the team in which the candidate might potentially end up in. There we discuss the technical information that might be of interest to the candidate. And here is the part where we encourage people to ask questions about the daily routine of the team. So what are the challenges people face? What they would like to change? What drives them crazy, if you wish? So again, we're not trying to sugarcoat anything, because talking really about our defects gives more information to the candidate, so they know what they're up to if they decide to join us. And the final step is actually a technical task. For each position, we have tailored a different technical task, and is something that the candidate is free to work on it at home. So the candidate can also ask questions about the task. As I said, we don't believe in testing people in an exam-like manner. It generates stress. And on the other hand, in our daily routine, we have multiple sources of info and help when doing our job. So why make it different for the candidate? And that's pretty much it.
And what about the technology? What is the Documaster technology stack?
Well, as a software as a service company, we're strongly Linux oriented. We have our own private cloud due to numerous reasons, but in terms of infrastructure or the private cloud, as I said, we use Ubuntu server with LXD containers, ZFS file system. We also use Ansible for configuration and deployment, Isinga 2, and Grafana for monitoring. Our backends are written in Java. We use Spring, Hibernate, and Maven. The front end is React and TypeScript in particular, plus a little bit of PHP, which we're trying to deprecate now. And our full text search is depending on Solar. And in terms of databases, pretty much PostgreSQL and MongoDB. I think no surprise there.
Okay, so the technologies are open source. Also, the interview is open source. And can you share what are the current open positions right now?
Well, to be honest, we're always on the lookout for interesting, enthusiastic people, and we're open to find the right place for a person we click in with. But yeah, what we are focused right now on is primarily Java and maybe infrastructure engineers. But then again, we're always welcoming people to just, if they want to learn something about us in detail, they're always welcome to just come visit.
Okay, is there any interview or anything that you will always remember?
I actually remember something specific for each of the people who have joined us, but I think I have a particularly amusing story which I'm also very fond of. It was in the very beginning of the Sofia office opening initiative. So yeah, we didn't even have any employees yet. So I was reaching out to people on LinkedIn, and there was one person who caught my attention. And even though he was not actively looking for a job at the time, he agreed to meet me for an informal talk. So we ended up drinking beers in a small day bar, which was right next to our first office, which at that time we had just leased and started furnishing. But yeah, at first he was quite reserved and talked a lot about his bad experiences with other companies. Because, you know, we were this Norwegian Bulgarian startup, and we were, you know, trying to find enthusiastic people to join our team. So he started telling me all his bad experiences. And yeah, he told me how quickly things have gone sideways with what had initially seemed as great ideas and organizations. And I was listening carefully to the advices he was giving me, and realized how easy it was to fail, no matter how great you think you are as a startup. So gradually, beer after beer, the discussion flowed through so many topics, like from molecular biology, which was his other passion apart from programming, to just general philosophical things. You know how it is when you drink beer or other alcohol. So time was flying, and in the end of the evening, I was happy to just have met that person. But yeah, a couple of months later, he joined the team and he's with us to this day. So I'm really happy about that, and I'll always be. That's why I love that story that much. But if you ask him, he will definitely tell you that I got him drunk back then, and he sold to us unwillingly. So yeah, but yeah, I have plenty of such stories, and I'm always happy to go back to them when I remember.
How do you create an attractive office environment? What is the environment in your company, and what is the profile of the typical successful team of Documaster?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is friendly and even family-like for some of us. I think that the collaborative environment, the things that I've mentioned earlier, that's what makes us such a great team. Apart from being exceptional professionals in what they do, people here are positive and willing to help each other out. And it's a lot of fun being around. We like to spend time together, not only in the office, but outside the office as well. yeah, probably the three things that I mentioned in the beginning are really fundamental for us.
So what does the corporate policy of Documaster
Uh,
include in
uh-huh.
terms of HR, of course? I mean, most interesting like keywords, maybe key elements like equal treatment of employees, performance
Mm,
review,
mm,
benefits,
yeah.
anything else?
First of all, we don't have corporate policies because we're not a corporation, but yeah, I know what you mean. Actually, it's again something really, really simple. We don't like the type of strong words and values that hang on walls, but we try to just live by what I'm about to say. At least I, as an HR, am always going in that direction. So I believe in reaching out to people, uh, listening to them, being available to understand what their needs are, and always being willing to support them and just listen to what they have to say. Because in our team, this is, as I said earlier, it's up to us to develop as an organization and as products. Everything is depending on us. So we're the ones setting the direction. So that's it. Just listen to the people. They will tell you whatever they need, and from then on, it's quite easy to just follow that.
And how does Documaster invest in career and professional development? Because when you hire somebody,
Mm.
then what?
Well, I would like to say that it really depends on the expectations of each person. There are people who would like to just delve deep into the technical stuff and be programmers and not be, you know, disturbed with things like some organizational stuff or managerial stuff or things like that. But what I would like to say here about Documaster is, like, if you believe that the only way to grow is through a corporate ladder, then Documaster is definitely not the right place for you. Our structure is quite flat, and yes, we have really well formed teams, like QA, like division based on the different products we're developing. We have infrastructure people, um, but yeah, for each of these teams, we have the so-called tech lead position, but it has nothing to do with the hierarchy, and it does not imply a manager-subordinates relationship. The role has more of a support and coordination function, and also serves as a point of contact, being between the team members in the team or between different teams. And these people on these positions have grown to them quite naturally. You can spot them quite easily. Team members will always gather around them for discussions or just questions, mostly because they have a good overview of what is going on in the team and what the dependencies between the teams are. But not having a you know corporate ladder or some kind of hierarchy does not mean that we cannot develop our people. So first of all, there is something very basic, which is readily available, but people maybe don't realize it that easy. And this is being in a collaborative environment, like having processes, development processes like code reviews, having around helpful people, always willing to explain and discuss things. Having the freedom to take decisions together. This is something that has worked for us amazingly in terms of how people have grown throughout the years that they spend with us. In terms of the more trivial stuff, of course, trainings like courses. conferences, workshops. Our colleagues are free to do all this stuff. Also, we buy books for our office library. And another thing that we wanted to achieve since day one, but it took us a couple of years to achieve once we already had our division in terms of teams. That was actually the opportunity for people to change team or even the technology they use. So we have quite a few examples of such switches. For example, people who have started with us in front end decided to try out backend and went from PHP to Java, for example, or from PHP to JavaScript. And yeah, plenty of things like that you can work with in a flatter organization. But yeah, just to wrap it up, again, just trying to see what people want and supporting them in reaching that goal.
What is your opinion about how to keep the developers happy?
Um,
What do you think about that?
for me, there is definitely no single answer for that, and it wouldn't be the office foosball table or massages or whatever. Each individual has his own or her own needs, and um, from my perspective, that was the only thing that had worked for us so far. Yes, we do strive to have a nice office. We like we have something really specific for us. But once we get to the office, we take off our shoes and just put some slippers on, so that we feel like at home. But yeah, just I think that people like being heard and like having the freedom to choose for themselves what to do and how to do it. Apart from, of course, I believe working on something meaningful. I think that that's one of the fundamental things for professionals in this area. Um, Knowing that you can actually say that you've worked on something that is changing for the better someone's work or someone's life. So I think those are quite fundamental things.
Thank you for this answer. Uh, are you a workaholic?
Certainly seems that way, yeah. But I think that this is normal when you care so much about what you do. And in my case, my colleagues and their well-being. I cannot easily switch off my thoughts and concerns about them because it's like family to me. Uh, some of my colleagues actually call me mom or teacher, like klasna, which I really enjoy, to be honest. So yeah, I do seem like a workaholic.
So what's the secret of the balance between personal and professional life?
Not sure. I'm not the right person to talk about this. Mine are quite fused, and that is something which happened naturally. It might seem like an unwise thing to do, but I'm at peace with it. I believe this is what happens when you find your true vocation, if you wish. But yeah, just I'm really happy to be able to be part of this amazing team. And yeah, I actually have the thank God is Monday vibe going on. So yeah.
What does a successful HR manager love to do in his spare time? His spare time. Yes.
Yeah, I suppose you'd have.
What do you
Yeah.
like to do?
Well, I like to travel. Maybe not that much abroad, but I really love to explore Bulgaria and places which are not that popular. But yeah, mostly driving around and being in nature is what I like. And of course, the occasional beer.
So, are there any questions that are mandatory, but you're uncomfortable asking during an interview?
I don't think so. As mentioned earlier, we try to keep our interviewing process as comfortable as possible for the candidates. And I've I think that I'm more interested in following the natural flow of the discussion because it's far more revealing than having a rigid set of questions asked in a particular order every time. But usually, when the candidate feels comfortable enough, the discussion really flows quite naturally, and I don't need to ask questions which I don't feel comfortable with.
And what kind of questions do you like?
Yeah, we have one which we always ask, and we love it. And it's why and how did you choose this career path for yourself? This question actually started, yeah, being mandatory for us after we've seen a couple of answers from software developers. But yeah, the reason we ask it every time is because it's always fascinating to observe how people light up when they talk about their passion, and to listen to their unique stories. It's really like every now and again you do have a light bulb moment and epiphany moment, and you're like, okay, those people are actually they really want to solve somebody's problem, so they're like a modern day heroes. um, so yeah, it apart from that, it also reveals a lot about the person, whether they're genuinely interested in what they do or had a different reason to pursue such a path. So yeah.
How have people who held in IT positions changed over the years? And to be more specific, maybe those working as software developers,
Mm.
the changing of people.
Mm. Um, okay, maybe, yeah, that's a bit of a painful topic for me, but let me say this: it's I'm not trying to overgeneralize here, and it's just a personal opinion, and I don't want to, don't want to offend anyone. But it seems that the ever-growing popularity of software engineering has led to uh, increased number of people in the sector with kind of a questionable motivation. I'm not saying that getting a good salary for what you do is bad, but when that is your only reason, there is something fundamentally broken. But that's like I'm talking about a really, really small amount of people here. To be honest, yes, I think that things have changed drastically. Like when I remember the first people I met who were in the programmers or software engineers, they were okay with working in just a small dark room, and I'm not saying that I've ever believed in the maybe the notion that software engineers are just nerds and they cannot communicate, and that's not true at all. But yeah, right
It's
now people
cliche.
are, yeah, those cliches I don't like, because I've always had quite valuable, quite nice conversations with people in this sector. So I actually enjoy being around tech savvy people. But yeah, it things have changed a lot. Now there's so many of them, and um, they're so powerful and admired right now because the industry has changed so much. But yeah, as a whole, I see a good tendency going on, apart from what I started with.
Thank you, Ina, that you share your time to chat. I wish you the biggest luck.
Thank you very much as well. It was a pleasure being with you and chatting to you. So best of luck to you, and bye.